So first of all, I want to thank Debbie Raskin and Zach Carter for their amazing remarks in that great video. Thank you so much. It was really wonderful. I mostly have to thank the City Bar staff, who are really the ones responsible for all of this, and Gabrielle Brown and Claire Plunkett. I actually wrote a line here that says, "Can we give them some love?" And I didn't have to say that, so you knew what to do. I also want to thank all the people who supported this event, especially the people who are listed in the programs as sponsors and supporters. Thank you all for supporting the event and all the work we do, and thank to all of you for being here. So thanks again. So diversity and inclusion is really important to me personally and also as the executive director here at the City Bar. Like all the workplaces that you come from, this association is strongest when we really represent fully the whole profession and the whole society. And I meant what I said in that video, and I know you couldn't all hear it because people were so enthusiastic, and we will post and circulate that video. But if you were able to hear, you would have heard me say that diversity is in fact not a challenge, it's an opportunity. And I do want to challenge each of you, though. If you're not a member of the City Bar and you are already involved in the great activity here, I want you to sign up and jump in. And if you are involved, I'd like you to bring somebody. If you're a patent lawyer, apply to one of our patent committees. If you want to do pro bono, we've got a lot of that. Get involved in CLE, networking, and if you want to work on diversity, clearly we have a lot of that going on here. Now, you'll get training and you'll get professional development and you'll get networking, and that's great and it strengthens the profession. But personally, what I want to do is I want to see more people that look like the people in this room involved in our association. And the only way you can do that is to come here so we can have our own pipeline of future leaders. So come on. As you saw in the video in the other room, we have a rich history of diversity efforts, from our first enhanced professional opportunities for minorities in the profession, that is a mouthful, in 1990, to the founding of our Office for Diversity in 2004, and all the stuff along the way. We want to remain not only relevant, but a leader in the field. So now to the reason we're here, our Champion Awards. This is our 9th annual award. We're really delighted to honor all of these outstanding individuals, and they joined 28 previous award winners, so it's really a distinguished group of people. This was also an opportunity for us to recognize posthumous winners. And we're also very proud of our pipeline efforts, where we serve hundreds of students at high school, college, and law school level every year, and we're very pleased to honor our first Diversity Pipeline Champion Award this evening. So I would have been introducing Benson Cohen. He's a partner at Sidley Austin. He's the chair of the Diversity and Inclusion Champion Award Selection Committee. He is homesick, so we send him our good wishes and wish that he were here. So instead of turning it over to him, I'm going to introduce the first award presenter, my friend Sheila Boston, who's a partner at Case-Shiller. She's also chair of the Enhanced Diversity in the Profession Committee here at the City Bar. She is also a past Champion Award winner. Sheila?
Good evening. This is a celebration. It's great to see you. I have the distinct honor and pleasure of presenting to you a true diversity and inclusion champion, Joseph M. Drayton, Esquire. Now, that's all right, yeah. Now, I know that our beloved Joe is now a partner at Cooley, but quite frankly, we raised him at Case-Shiller, I'm just saying. Okay, so I was a summer associate. I've been at Case-Shiller for 20 years now. Joe was a summer associate. He was there for 15 consecutive years, so we're laying claim on this tonight. I knew Joe when he was a baby lawyer, and I've watched him transform and excel as an attorney and as an advocate for diversity and inclusion. Joe believes in fairness, compassion, inclusivity, and helping others to reach their full potential. He has worked extremely hard in this vineyard that we call New York City, but he's also worked at state and national levels as well. And he does all of this with a humble spirit. As a former recipient of this award, I am just proud as a peacock tonight. Let me just tell you, because I'm sharing this, I'm bestowing this with a dear friend and brother, a man who has done some magnificent work in this field and has engaged in work that has helped to transform not just legal careers, but lives. Joe has served as a president of the Metropolitan Black Bar Association, board member and programs chair for PALS. He's been a secretary here at this association for Minorities in the Courts Committee. He's been on the board of advisors to the MCCA's annual Pathways to Diversity Conference, a member of the leadership team for DuPont's Minority Council Network, is currently a regional director for the National Bar Association. At Case-Shouler, he was on the recruiting and diversity committees. And of course, it's no surprise, he's on the diversity committee at Cooley. I could go on and on telling you about Joe, let me just tell you. But as a trial attorney, I thought it best to share with you some clear and convincing evidence. I'm going to share with you some testimonies, if you just indulge me. First, my partner and co-chair of litigation at Case-Shouler, his name is Jim Hirschlein, very active here in this bar. He said that Joe is one of the most genuine and conscientious persons I know. He's a hard worker, mentor, and good trial lawyer. Stephen P. Younger at Patterson Belknap and former president of the New York State Bar Association said, Joe is effervescent and inspiring, a mentor and leader, incredibly energetic, and never stops thinking about how to help others. The Honorable Nelson S. Roman of the Southern District of New York, he worked with Joe on the Minorities in the Courts Committee. He described Joe as extremely mild-mannered and very unassuming, an extremely bright person who listens intently to every word that you say. He's a sharp attorney, extremely dedicated to his family, especially his daughter, Elle, a wonderful young man with a deep desire to contribute to public service. The Honorable Cheryl Gonzalez said, she worked with him on the Minorities in the Courts Committee. She said, Joe's very grounded, has good communication skills, and relates to people well. He understands the importance of including people in a decision-making process. Jim Breedlove, General Counsel of Proxair, told me that he's a strong fan of Joe's because Joe is a trailblazer in terms of connecting people and understanding the importance of intelligently networking in the legal profession. Joe goes above and beyond to facilitate the introductions of diverse attorneys to one another. He's an extremely nice guy, one of those rare people who is accomplished but unassuming. Jim said, and I quote, Joe is one of the most proactive brothers I know and have known in the last 20 years. That's high praise. And last but not least of all, Joe Conroy, the CEO of Cooley, asked me to share these final words. I regret being unable to attend this evening's event, but with great admiration, I want to congratulate Joe on the distinguished recognition he's receiving tonight. It's incredibly well-deserved. Joe is a leader in our firm. He stands at the forefront of diversity and inclusion by conducting himself in a manner that inspires others to change the way they think and the way they act. I'm thrilled that Joe's being recognized by the New York City Bar. On behalf of Cooley, we will do all that we can to serve as champions and encourage further progress in the areas of diversity and inclusion. Again, congratulations to Joe, and I trust the evening will be a special one. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The verdict is in, and it is unanimous. He is a true diversity and inclusion champion. So stand to your feet and help me to celebrate Joseph Drayton.
Thought I was in the casket, but that was outstanding. Thank you, Sheila. I'm very humble, I must say, to receive this award, as it is very much a great honor. I want to first thank my fellow diversity champions, Michelle Anderson, the family of Thomas Heffler, Natalie Martin and Carla Sanchez, the family of Michael Oshima, and Morgan Stanley. I celebrate you as diversity champions here tonight. I really want to say that Morgan Stanley has really done a tremendous amount of work in the diversity space, and we feel you in our legal community. So to all the people from Morgan Stanley here, I just want to say thank you for your great work. Sheila, I have to say that you're a shining example of diversity, a true champion, a beloved friend, and a big sister. Thank you. Stacy, thank you. I love you. And I wanted you to, I'm out and about quite a bit. And so, on behalf of myself, the bar, we thank you. My sister-in-law is here. I want to thank her. She's there to support me as well. I want to thank the City Bar. I want to thank the Enhanced Diversity in the Profession Committee for its work. I want to thank the past presidents of the City Bar. I want to thank the past executive directors of the City Bar. I want to thank Brett Parker. I want to thank Carrie Dunn, Barbara Abatowski, I believe she's here, Gabrielle Brown, and Claire Plunkett for their work in putting together this extraordinary event and for really ensuring that the City Bar is committed to diversity. I want to thank our trailblazers, Conrad Harper, John Carr, Judge Kuntz, and others who sort of paved the way for us. We would not be here but for their work, and I know I wouldn't be here but for their work. I want to thank the MBBA family that's here with me tonight. I want to thank Judge Gonzalez. I want to thank Judge Yearwood, Judge Hall, and I want to thank our current President Nadine Fontaine and Deborah Martin, my right hand, because the vast majority of work we celebrate my service as president of the Metropolitan Black Bar Association. So I want to say thank you to them. Obviously, thank you to Kay Shola. I think Sheila summed that up. And thank you to all who have worked with me in our efforts in diversity in the New York legal community. I want to thank, last but not least, my Cooley family. I have Deanna Allen here, who's chair of our diversity committee. I have Jonathan Bach, who's head of our New York office. Michael Lincoln, who interviewed me, is here tonight. And I'm just going to share, and Kerry Wagner, director of legal talent. And it's a funny thing about Mike, because I remember in the interview process, Mike was the second person I met with at Cooley, and I came home to Stacy, and I said, if that was the first date, I would be in trouble, because, Mike really made an impression upon me. And I'll have a little story a little later on. I normally have a limited amount of time, so I'll press on. But I want to say thank you to my Cooley family. I'm skipping a little bit of my remarks because Sheila covered it and because I don't have a lot of time. But diversity and inclusion is extremely important, and I take it very seriously. And we have made significant progress, and I don't want that to be lost on anyone. First of all, we have more diverse partners in New York City and in our nation. We have more diverse associates in our city and in our nation. We have more diverse general counsel here in New York and in the nation than we did 30 years ago. We have not just the diversity movement, we have the diversity and inclusion movement, which is extremely important. And as diverse attorneys, we have options. Options we didn't have 30 years ago. So the hard work has paid off. And that's the good news. Unfortunately, there is some bad news in the story. I'm not going to talk about the bad news because the American law has talked about it. The Law Journal has talked about it. I think we all know what the bad news is. But what I will say is that there are things we can do to ensure that in the next 30 years, we can remove some of the bad news and we can make further progress and we can improve our statistics. And what I'll say is it's time not to be bashful. It's time not to shy away from hiring diverse attorneys. We cannot shy away from investing in diverse attorneys. That's not a message just for white America. It's a message for all of America. It's a message for our diverse attorneys as well. When we get into positions to hire and invest, we have to do that. President Obama, when he became president of the United States, he didn't have necessarily the traditional donor basis. He had the small donations that added up to be large amounts. And the one thing I'll say about diversity and inclusion is the little things you do. And if we each do a little bit more, it will add up and it will make a change and it will make a difference. I'm bullish on diversity. I know we'll get there. And I know I'm a little out of time, but just give me a moment, And I'll say this. Every little bit counts, and I just want to say two things. I want to circle back to Mike Lincoln, and when I met with Mike Lincoln, I was counsel at Kay Shola. I was laterally promoted to partner at Cooley, And there were various factors that accounted for that. But there was one important thing. And Mike said, Joe, your leadership profile is commendable. And it's one of the factors in why we think your partnership material at Cooley. Where did that come from? It came from my work in diversity. And so that is a best practice that I'd like to see more firms engage in, the lateral promotion of diverse candidates, because that's one way we can increase the pipeline and increase the fold. With that, I'll say this. When I called attorneys like David Critchlow, Sharon Bowen, people like Wharton Bellamy, Steve Younger, and I said I needed their time, they made time for me. I make time for you. It's not because I'm a diversity champion, it's because it's what we're supposed to do. And I ask that you do that, and if you do it, just do it a little bit more. Thank you very much.
Buenas noches. Let's try this again. Buenas noches. Muy bien, gracias. And in honor of the Brazilian World Cup, boa noite. My name is Maria Fernandez, and I am counsel at IBM, and I'm here along with my Cafecito member and my partner in crime, Neysa Alcina, and we're here to present the next award. This is the first time that we recognize Latinas and their work in pursuance of diversity. So go Latina power. So I want to talk a little bit about the concept of cafecito. In the Latin culture, when someone asks you to have coffee with them, it's not just coffee. It is a personal interaction. It is networking. It is a conversation. So the term cafecito, for those of you who do not know, is a small cup of coffee. And so Natalia and Carla, who are two outstanding women, realized the importance of having cafecito. You're putting the sign up already? Just saying. The needs based on our numbers in our environment, sorry, I'm from the Bronx, I can't help it. The need based on our numbers to have these regular conversations. These are two women who truly meet the criteria for diversity and inclusion. So on the numbers, Latinos are 16.7% of the population, the documented population. Latino lawyers are 4% of that population. Not a great number. Latinas, to the extent that we have some statistics, are 1.4% of the population. Not even half. And hopefully that bothers you because it does bother me. So Natalia and Carla understood getting us together, bringing those to work on those numbers, to decrease attrition, and to help each other strive as attorneys.
I'll speak fast. And so here are the top 3 reasons why these leaders are deserving of this prestigious award. Using the idea of the diversity in coffee drinking styles, we'll describe 3 ways that you can drink your cafecito and how they align with Carla and Natalia's vision of this platform that acts as a conduit of information, without which many Latinas would not otherwise have exposure to the resources, contacts, opportunities, and experiences realized at these meetings. You can take your coffee black, nothing added. It is simple, but with a strong foundation. The Cafecito Network is a safe space for a group that does not always have others like them as resources. These meetings provide an opportunity for attendees to go around the room, introducing ourselves, and if you need a job, you ask for one. If you need a speaker, you ask for one. If you have services to offer, you offer them. It's direct and straightforward as that, and that is one of the many reasons as to why it works.
You can also take your coffee with milk, or café con leche. The richness of the network adds values to its members. It is a group of Latina women from various nationalities and backgrounds who want to be there for each other as a support system. As Neysa and I went out to try to figure out sort of what we could support in terms of our nomination, we got a lot of the value back from our members. Let me read you one of the examples. Through the Cafecitos network, I learned that a law student was looking for a summer clerkship. I passed her resume along to our Director of Professional Development. We interviewed her, and she clerked in our office for 2 consecutive summers. Needless to say, we were very happy with her work. So the impact of the network was reflected in the feedback. Many spoke of the important connections that they made to help ensure the growth in their career.
And of course, you can always add sugar to your coffee if you want the sweetness. And how does the network do that? By adding amazing speakers, such as the New York Court of Appeals, Judge Jenny Rivera, Attorney General Eric Schneiderman, Manhattan DA Cyrus Vance, and Nina Perales of the Mexican American Legal Defense and Education Fund, among others. Individuals who have made it to the pinnacle of their profession, who give back by sharing their experiences with college students, law students, and young lawyers through the Cafecitos network. So who are these brilliant and generous attorneys who created this network that is making such an impact in the profession? We'll highlight just a few of their individual accomplishments. Natalia Martin, she lives and breathes diversity every day as the Director of Diversity at Simpson, Thacher, and Bartlett, where she works with attorneys throughout the firm on diversity initiatives. In addition, Natalia is involved in many diversity pipeline events and has worked with Latino Justice Pearl Devs on its annual Law Day event for pre-law students. Natalia is also a member of the New York City Bar's Committee to Enhance Diversity in the Profession and currently serves on MALDEF's National Law School Scholarship Committee. In her bio, you will see the numerous awards she has received, including the Connecticut Hispanic Bar Association's Achievement Award and the Puerto Rican Bar Association's Flor de Maga Award.
And Carla Sanchez, she's also a true champion of diversity. She is, and sorry, she has a really long title, the Executive Deputy Attorney General for Economic Justice, and was the first Hispanic partner at a firm of Patterson Belknap, where she was chair of the diversity committee and worked on initiatives around diversity. She also sat on the New York City Bar Committee to enhance diversity in the profession. She's a former vice chair and board member of Latino Justice and has been very involved with her alma mater, Fordham Law School. Carla has also achieved numerous awards, including the Puerto Rican Legal Defense and Education Fund's Lucero Award and the Dominican Bar Association. There's a lot of awards, there's a lot of things these women have done. Frankly, it would take all night, and in the interest of, I think we're past the time the guy's no longer putting up any more signs. So, without further ado, it is our honor to present Natalia Martin and Carla Sanchez the 2014 Diversity and Inclusion Award for their leadership, courage, and vision. Okay. Natalia, Carla, and I'm just gonna-
Go like Thank you, because that wasn't going to work, even with heels. So first and foremost, Natalia and I would like to do a few thank yous. Of course, we want to thank the New York City Bar for this great honor and for putting our names alongside so many other people who have contributed to diversity. We also want to thank Maria and Nesa for that awesome introduction and for nominating us in the first place. I also want to recognize my parents. I firmly believe that I am who I am, and I do what I do because of them. And it's not a nature-nurture question, because obviously they gave me both. I've been very lucky to be raised by people who are extremely intelligent and supportive. I always say my mom and dad, they're my #1 fans. I can do no wrong in their eyes. They both live a little bit far from here, and so they don't get a lot of opportunities to attend professional events at which I'm at, so they're not going to like me for this. But I'm going to ask them to stand, and I'm going to ask you to give them a round of applause. Edward and Anna Sanchez. And I don't think the clapping counts against our time, so go ahead. No.
A huge thank you to Simpson Thatcher. Without Simpson's significant and ongoing support, the Cafecitos would simply not be the thriving network that it is today. Thank you to our chair, Bill Doherty. Your presence tonight means so much. And to my son, Andres Behave, El Jefe is right next to you. I stand on the shoulders of Simpson Thatcher giants. I'm from the house of Conrad Harper and Cy Vance. And Marissa Wesley, another diversity champion. Thank you to my mentor and friend, John Carr. You were the first partner who made me feel that I was smart, not just hardworking and well-meaning, but capable. What a gift that was to a junior associate. Gracias to the bicoastal and trilingual co-chairs of our diversity committee, John Erickson, Kirsten Jensen, and Jaime Mercado. I am lucky to work with you every day. A big thank you to all the firms, companies, and DA's offices which have hosted Cafecitos so far, with particular appreciation for my fellow diversity directors, whose efforts and passion are not always recognized, but are steadfast and true. And finally, thanks to the three men in my life, Edgardo, Andres, y Alejandro.
So Natalia and I, we wanted to reenact how it is the moment that the Cafecitos came into an existence. So I'm going to set the stage. It's Chicago.
Spring of 2006.
Right. It's a conference for big law, diversity in big law firms.
Taught by Brene
That's
Myers.
right. And Natalia was at Simpson, where she's
Still am.
and I was at Patterson Belknap. And during a break, Natalia comes up to me and she says,
Carla, we really have to do something for Latinas. The numbers are horrendous. Maybe we should get Latina lawyers together or something.
I think that's a great idea. But not like a usual bar association. We don't want any CLEs and more speeches and all that type of thing. We just want a place where women can come together and bonchinchar a little bit.
Like Bochinche. And where we could provide ideas, support, and business generation.
And law students could come and get mentorship, but no formal mentorship programs. And then we could get some firms like Simpson and Patterson to host, and corporations could host us.
And breakfast meetings are easier to make and more inexpensive for the host. Maybe we could call this the Cafecitos.
And the Cafecitos were born.
It really was that simple.
But our point is that is all it really takes.
An idea.
Follow through, and you actually can make a difference.
So we literally invited all the Latina women lawyers we knew in New York City to the first cafecito held on Cinco de Mayo of 2006, appropriately enough, at Simpson Thatcher, and it was attended by about 40 lawyers.
And we have continued to grow solely by word of mouth. No website, no Twitter, no Google Plus, or anything like that. We just planted a seed.
And gave it our yin and yang.
And now we have over 650 women lawyers.
And we do it because we hope that the Cafecitos will add to the list of Hispanic women who have left their mark on our society and our country.
Carmen Saparik,
Dolores Huerta,
Joan Baez, Celia Cruz, Gloria Estefan, Rita Moreno, Chito Rivera, Tanya Leon, J-Lo.
Isabel Allende, Sandra Cisneros, Julia de Burgos,
Cristina, the talk show host.
Salma Hayek, Eva Longoria, Linda Carter, a.k.a. Wonder Woman, America Ferrera, Zoe Saldaña, Dolores del Rio, and Rita Hayworth.
AKA Margarita Carmen Cancino. I bet you didn't know that. And many you may not have heard of. Ellen Ochoa, who's the first Hispanic female astronaut. Antonia Novello, who was the former Surgeon General. And Lucy Gonzalez Parsons, a radical socialist activist who was described by authorities of her day as more dangerous than 1,000 rioters.
Sounds like us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Journalist and activist Jovita Idar, Silvia Mendez, a civil rights activist and plaintiff of Mendez v. Westminster, France Ann Cordova, literally a rocket scientist, and Nina Tassler, chairman of CBS Entertainment as of February 2014. I love that, chairman.
Yeah,
Nina,
Councilman.
Chairman.
And
Sonia Sotomayor. And then there are some of our very own Cafecito members, like the honorables. That's why I call them the honorables. Las honorables, Jenny Rivera, Margarita López Torres, Rita Mella, Dora Irizarry, Analisa Torres, Carmen Velázquez.
And don't forget about the first Dominican American to ever serve as an ambassador on behalf of this country, Julissa Reynoso.
And tenured law professors Tanya Hernandez, Cristina Adolfi Ponza, and Cristina Rodriguez at Fordham, Columbia, and Yale Law Schools, respectively.
So to take a page now from Joe's book.
Yeah, reinforce.
Yeah. What can you do? Here are 10 ideas.
Take,
They're quick, they're really quick, I promise. I swear.
yeah, I'm not even looking at him.
Pithy.
Poor guy. Okay. Take one Latina lawyer, one, under your wing. Help her navigate your organization.
Make an effort to provide concrete feedback on work assignments.
Distribute work assignments fairly. A piece of advice about this one. Trust, but verify.
Offer opportunities for meaningful participation in your firm, your organization, or your corporation. Not just recruiting. Take people to a business development meeting and let them talk, and then put them actually on the case if you get the business. Or create some speaking opportunities so they gain visibility in your firm.
If you have a great Latina lawyers who have left your firm, send business to them when you are asked for referrals. Think of them for memberships on boards or committees that might help advance their careers, make valuable introductions.
Consider Latinas when hiring laterally.
Promote excellent lawyers who are Latinas. Do it.
Participate in programs such as the New York City Bar Fellowship and the Thurgood Marshall and SEO internships. And if you already do, which I know many people here already do, thank you. Now consider supporting another student.
Engage personally with groups like PALS, Legal Outreach, CUP, or law school alumni groups, and mentor a Hispanic student, whether law school, college, or high school.
And you can always host a cafecito. Natalia will have business cards to pass out for any firm or corporation who would like to host our breakfast meeting.
Never underestimate the effect that just 1 hour of your time can have on someone's life, on their career development, and their success.
Congratulations to Michelle, Joseph, and Morgan Stanley, and thanks again for the award.
Good evening. I'm pleased to introduce you to Michelle J. Anderson, Dean of CUNY School of Law and one of tonight's Diversity and Inclusion Champion recipients. I am Cheryl Howard. I am the Associate Dean of Student Affairs at CUNY Law, and I'm also the Director of CUNY Law's Pipeline to Justice program. I've had the pleasure of working closely with Michelle for the past 5 years. As some of you may know, CUNY Law's mission is to graduate outstanding public interest and public service lawyers and to enhance the diversity of the legal profession. The moment Michelle was named Dean of CUNY Law, before she even started in the position, she and CUNY Law's then Associate Dean for Special Projects, Mary Lou Billick, began strategizing about how to develop a new and innovative pipeline program for the school. Mary Lou and Michelle developed a program that gives students a second chance at admission when their LSAT scores do not accurately reflect their true potential. One particular insight of our program is that we don't try to compete for students who might otherwise go to medical school or PhD programs. Our pipeline program reaches out to students we know are particularly interested in going to law school and who are specifically interested in going to our law school. And we provide a program for them that allows them to enhance their critical thinking skills, their reading and writing skills, and these form the basis of their gaining admission to the law school and helps them to realize their dreams of becoming an attorney. Now, this is all the boilerplate. I nominated Michelle for this award. And I didn't nominate her because she created the Pipeline to Justice program. I nominated Michelle Anderson because of her continued commitment to graduating high-quality lawyers who go on to serve underserved communities. Because of her commitment, Pipeline students are given support throughout law school. Because of her integrity, they are held to very high standards. As a result, this year alone, 2 of the graduating Pipeline students were on law review, 2 were president and vice president of moot court, and 1 was the Thurgood Marshall Fellow for the City Bar. Because she has helped create a community where Pipeline students feel fully accepted as members, they decided that they wanted to walk down the aisle of graduation proudly wearing sashes that said, "I am in the Pipeline to Justice program." I want you to take a minute and understand what that means. It is not enough to have diverse faces. It is important to have a diverse community where people feel accepted as full members of the community, judged fairly by the standards of that community, and supported by that community. And that is the atmosphere that Michelle has created. Now back to the boilerplate. CUNY School of Law is one of the most diverse law schools in New York and one of the most diverse law schools in the country. But the Pipeline to Justice program is not all that Michelle helped to create. She hired more faculty and staff of color, more women, more out LGBT community members. Under her leadership, CUNY Law earned a U.S. News and World Report top 10 ranking for student body diversity, and Princeton Review's top 10 ranking for most diverse faculty. It also obtained the National Jurist ranking as the second most diverse law school in the nation from both faculty and student diversity. Michelle understands the critical importance of a diverse legal profession. So I want you to raise your glasses to someone who doesn't just talk the talk, but walks the walk. Michelle Anderson.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for your applause. Thank you, Cheryl, for that wonderful and generous introduction. I want to humbly accept this award on behalf of the entire CUNY School of Law community. because every accomplishment on diversity and inclusion during my time as dean comes from work that the faculty and staff have done together to make the institution more diverse and to make the profession more diverse. I'm honored and humbled to serve an institution that takes very seriously our particular obligation in the legal academy as gatekeepers to the legal profession, to engage in practices that help diversify the legal profession. It's one of the things that makes working at CUNY School of Law so rewarding. As you know, the legal profession is overwhelmingly and disproportionately white. We whites make up 67% of the population, but we are almost 90% of its lawyers. And while Latinos, Blacks, and Asian Americans are about 15, 12, and 5% of the population respectively, they're only about 4, 5, and 3% of its lawyers. Among professions, the legal profession is one of the whitest. The 2000 U.S. Census data indicates that lawyers lagged behind doctors and surgeons, economists, physical and computer scientists, journalists, architects, mechanical and civil engineers, and accountants in minority representation. Until the 1950s, most Southern law schools formally excluded blacks and informally excluded, of course, other people of color. Today, explicit racial segregation and exclusion is illegal. But in the absence of the de jure bar, one reason that students remain underrepresented in law schools, minority students remain underrepresented, is the use of the LSAT. Fueled at least in part by U.S. News and World Report rankings, in which average students entering LSATs account for about 90% of the variation in the rankings. Most law schools use the LSAT scores as a key determinant in admissions. But the LSAT is only a weak predictor of performance in law school, and it bears no relationship to success in the profession, whether measured by income, job satisfaction, or public service. Interestingly, the LSAT's disparate impact on people of color and on students of color may not be justified in terms of differences in educational background. One study of applicants to law schools which matched them for undergraduate performance, undergraduate GPA, and undergraduate major concluded that the LSAT favors whites among equally achieving college students. And the lack of diversity overall in the legal profession contributes to a justice deficit that leaves the poor with inadequate legal representation. It appears that, this is fascinating, on average, attorneys of color actually do more than white attorneys to address the justice gap. After analyzing thousands of graduates of one elite law school, I believe it was the University of Michigan in this study, researchers found that attorneys of color were more likely to serve clients of color, to engage in public interest and public service practice, and to offer pro bono legal services. So diversity in the legal profession is perhaps most important and valuable because it will enhance the delivery of justice to disempowered communities. Unfortunately, most law schools do not go beyond regular recruitment and financial aid to enhance their student body diversity. They tend to compete with other law schools for the same students of color who have strong LSAT scores. Here at CUNY Law, we're trying to expand the pool of qualified applicants. We're identifying and supporting individuals whose numerical predictors, we believe, may be artificially deflated because of social forces working against them. And we're helping them to acquire the social capital to overcome those barriers. And as you've heard, CUNY Law, the community is not just diverse when it comes to the student body. Our faculty, staff, and administration in terms of gender, sexual orientation, sex, as well as race and class is very diverse. I want to thank the New York City Bar for its own efforts over time and repeated and intense efforts to enhance diversity in the legal profession and for what this evening's festivities represent. We, that is, the Academy and the Bar, need to work together to promote diversity and leadership and the inclusion of women, people of color, and out LGBT individuals in all sectors of the profession and at its highest echelons. Our work in this area in particular has become more urgent of late. The New York City Bar Association's recent task force on new lawyers in a changing profession reports that although women and underrepresented groups were making modest pre-recession gains, diversity statistics have stagnated in recent years. We have to remember that Chinese proverb, which is, if we don't change our direction, we're likely to end up where we're headed. And where the legal profession is headed right now in terms of diversity and the justice gap, in particular because of the difficult legal economy and because of the difficult broader economy, this needs to change. I really want to thank you for this recognition on behalf of CUNY School of Law.
I'd like to ask Anita Rosenblum and Angie Hankins of Strick, Strick, and Levon to join me on the stage. Diversity for Tom Heffler was more than just checking a box on a form. His approach to diversity was thoughtful, calm, and insightful. It was with this approach that Tom, as co-managing partner of Strzok, established and chaired the Diversity Committee, created the Affinity Groups program, and supported the firm's public service project. A gifted and natural mentor, Tom had an easy touch, a winning smile, and dealt with even the most untidy challenges, all while wearing his trademark bow tie. I love a good bow tie. At the City Bar, Tom was one of the forces behind the creation of an award to recognize agents of diversity progress. Thus, we are honored tonight to recognize Tom Heffler by presenting this year's Champion Award to his colleagues at Strzok. And now I'd like to ask Chiaki Tanaka and Alice Oshima to join me on the stage. Michael Oshima was an experienced leader and an attorney with charisma, a sense of humor, and grace under fire. Michael was active in organizations that provided support, prevent violence, and promote justice for victims of crime and abuse. He was very active in pro bono work and championed initiatives to increase diversity. While an administrative partner at Arnold & Porter, his office twice received the Minority Corporate Counsel Association's Thomas L. Sager Award, which recognizes firms' efforts to increase diversity. His enduring contributions to diversity in the legal field make him an ideal diversity champion, and we are honored to present the Diversity Champion Award to his family. I'd like to now introduce you to two dear friends of mine, Lloyd Colonna and Rabia Qasim, who have been active in the City Bar's pipeline efforts since 2002, I believe, but have been working with me since day one of my job here.
Someone seems to have stolen our remarks this evening. But we're going to go ahead. Good evening. My name is Lloyd Colonna.
And I'm Rabia Qasim.
I have been a direct beneficiary and active member of the New York City Bar's diversity pipeline efforts since I received my first internship through the Thurgood Marshall Summer Law Internship Program at Simpson Thacher and Bartlett in 2002.
My involvement in the City Bar began after graduating high school when I had the opportunity to intern at Carath, Swain & Moore. I have been involved ever since. I have been a recipient of the Law Preview Scholarship, and now I'm a rising 2L at CUNY Law School. I'm proud to stand on this stage tonight and show the direct impact that the champions recognized tonight and the sponsors of this event have had on my personal and professional success.
Throughout the last 5 years, the City Bar has provided us with professional development opportunities through programs like Launching Your Career series, as well as academic support, LSAT preparation, and exposure to a vast array of mentors and sponsors. It has equipped us with the tools necessary to be successful as we make our way into the profession. The City Bar provides dozens of programs each year that serve hundreds of students at the high school, college, and law school level. These programs are provided to us at no cost, and the returns are clearly vast. The City Bar's pipeline efforts are not only changing the future of the legal profession, but in my opinion, the professional world as a whole, by helping to equip diverse students with the skills needed to succeed and excel.
On the table in front of you, there's a card which highlights the diversity pipeline initiatives, and we ask that you consider making a donation to this worthwhile effort. No donation is too small, and your contributions will help to ensure that students like us receive the support we need to be lawyers. And tonight, through the generosity of one of our sponsors, Barbary, every dollar donated will be matched in the City Bar's Bar Exam Prep Scholarship Program, which will provide scholarship assistance to students in the pipeline.
This past winter, I had the pleasure of meeting a number of the members of Morgan Stanley's Diversity Committee. And I've even been fortunate enough to participate in a few of their programs and experience firsthand the impact of their commitment to diversity. Please join me in congratulating them for their outstanding support of the City Bar and its diversity pipeline initiatives by welcoming Nate St. Victor to accept the City Bar's first Diversity Pipeline Champion Award on behalf of Morgan Stanley's Legal and Compliance Division.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And you talk about the pipeline, and you see exactly why many of us do what we do. Before I talk about Morgan Stanley's commitment, many of you know about our commitment. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because the night is long. And our description in the program talks a lot about what we do. But I do want to say something. I know Benson Cohn, who was the chair for the selection committee for the Diversity and Inclusion Champion Award, he was ill, so he couldn't be here tonight. But I served on the committee under Benson, and he did a phenomenal job. And there are the other members, the other volunteers that took time out to go through the gruesome process of screening a lot of talented individuals. So I just would like for the selection committee members to please stand and be recognized for your efforts. I think they got it right. You might agree with me. They got it right. So I have some remarks that I'm going to make, and the first thing I want to say is our chief legal officer could not be here tonight, Eric Grossman. He's very regretful that he couldn't be here this evening for this 30th anniversary celebration. Now, make no mistake, Eric's commitment to diversity is formidable, it's strong, and it's part of his core. And those of you who've come in the past years, you know that Eric was here when we had some of our own who did get the Diversity and Inclusion Champion Award. Last year, Lita Wingfield won it. In 2010, Dwayne Hughes won it, and Eric was always there, so he couldn't be here tonight, so you guys have to settle for me. All right, so look, for those of you that don't know me, I am Nate St. Victor. I am an advisory attorney at Morgan Stanley. I also chair our Legal and Compliance Division's Diversity and Inclusion Committee, and I've done that for the past 3 years. For those of you that do know me, well, I apologize. Okay. So we're honored to be the recipient of the City Bar's inaugural Diversity Pipeline Award. As they say, it takes a village to raise a child, And I think when you talk about diversity and inclusion, it takes community to affect real change. And that's what we have here. And so I'm accepting this award on behalf of Morgan Stanley, but there are so many people that I'm thankful for that have been a part of our process, that have been a part of our effort. Some of them are here tonight, many of them are not, but I'm just going to reserve my remarks to thank you. I was thinking about challenging everybody and throwing the gauntlet out because there's so much more that needs to be done. And I was going to tell everybody that you need to spend time to do more for diversity and inclusion, but I'm not going to do that because there's not a lot of time. I just want to do the thank yous. So, first and foremost, thank you to my colleagues in the Legal and Compliance Division. They have repeatedly found innovative ways to promote a culture of excellence, not only by providing best-in-class legal services, but also by living and breathing this unyielding commitment to diversity and inclusion each and every day. Diversity and inclusion is fundamental to the principles at Morgan Stanley. Our core values are putting clients first, leading with exceptional ideas, giving back, and doing the right thing. Each and every day we do that, we breathe that. It makes us exceptional advisors, and it makes us pretty darn good at diversity and inclusion. So thank you. First off, I want to say Andy Lipton. Lisa is not here tonight, but Andy, where are you? Right there. Stand up. I'm gonna embarrass everybody. Stand up and stay standing. Okay, so you can't clap for everybody because we don't have a lot of time, but stay standing, Andy. Come on now. Don't make me come up off this podium. All right, he's gonna stay standing. Lisa's not here. To Mike Henry and Nubia Shabaka, they manage our Pipeline Initiatives Committee. Mike, Nubia, please stand. Stay standing. Mike, stay standing. To Wayne Melbourne, where's Wayne? Wayne's over there. So Wayne, for the second year straight, he's developed and delivered enriching programming to strengthen the pipeline of diverse attorneys and other professionals considering careers as compliance officers. And so we've had this program for 2 years now, and we reach out to the communities, and we're educating people about how you can transition from being an attorney to becoming a compliance professional. Now, my good friend Andy, he's standing over there, and he's known for having made comments about how you don't grow up wanting to be a chief compliance officer. You want to be a fire marshal, or you want to be a president. Well, the program that Wayne's doing is changing the game, Andy, so let's see how that looks in a couple years. I also want to thank Barry Koss and her public relations subcommittee that do a lot of our work. Barry, could you stand? Ishai Gorshine, he's here tonight as well. He's on the subcommittee. He put together the application. And yes, if you haven't noticed, our bench is deep in Morgan Stanley. We're like the San Antonio Spurs. So, should have been the Heat. To Jennifer Zimmerman, where's Jennifer? Also Ingrid Busson. Ingrid, please stand. Two of our ladies, they're very active. They lead and are active in our women's initiatives, and they're teaching us every day the best and brightest ways and leading by example when we're learning more and more how to lean in. So I thank her for that. Now, I would be remiss not to thank my mentor, my sponsor, my brother, a prior diversity and inclusion champion, Dwayne Hughes. Dwayne, please stand. Dwayne has broken through glass ceilings. He's the first black managing director in the Legal and Compliance Division. He started our Diversity and Inclusion Committee. Out of time? Okay. Now he's telling me I'm out of time. All right, you're telling me too. Okay, Alita Wingfield, my sister. There she is. Please stand, Alita. She was the immediate past chair. She had this position before I. So those are my colleagues. Keep standing. I got a few more people. Nancy Burnett, Charles Spearman, where are you? Please stand. Nancy Burnett and Charles Spearman, they are my fellow board members on the Alliance of Securities and Financial Educators, our Securities and Finance Law Seminar Series. Morgan Stanley sponsored it, Guggenheim sponsored it in conjunction with the City Bar. Part of the reason we're up here, part of the reason we're being acknowledged for Pipeline is because of this formidable program we've put together. You can find out more about it. You can read about it in the program. But Nancy, Charles, you've done a phenomenal job with this. Also, Paula Edgar, where is she? Paula, where are you? There she is in the back. Paula, what do you do in the back? Nobody puts Paula in the corner. I don't get this. You should be up here with me. So she chaired our Diversity Pipeline Initiatives Committee at the City Bar. We had several Morgan Stanley people that were part of that committee helping to contribute and innovate towards best practices on pipeline initiatives. So A few more people. Janita Mazel, please stand. She's at the Morgan Stanley table. She's here representing the Council of Urban Professionals. If you're not familiar with this organization, if you're not familiar with the Council of Urban Professionals and you have problems and concerns about leadership development, it's on you. They've had an executive leadership program they started last year. It is best in class. Lucas Torres actually is another board member, and he's here as well. Lucas, could you please stand? I'm going to make you stand. Do not make me come down there. The Council of Urban Professionals, I need you all to look into that program. You need to send people more attorneys next summer. Wharton Bellamy's not here tonight, but he's the founder of Charting Your Own Course, the Career Development Conference for Diverse Professionals. Anybody in here who's been to Charting Your Own Course, I want you to stand. Those of you that have been to Charting, Ed Delk, I see you. Reggie Rash, I see you. If you've been to Charting Your Own Course, I want you to stand. Stay standing. We got a message here, okay? To Lori Robinson Hayden, she's not here tonight, but those of you that have gone to Corporate Council Women of Color, you know the value proposition of that organization, taking the best of us and giving them authentic opportunities to develop. To Joel Stern, one of our guests. Joel, please stand. He's the new CEO of the National Association of Minority and Women-Owned Law Firms. Those of you that talk about supplier diversity, this is the guy you want to talk to. Now, 3 more thank yous. If you are a diversity professional at a law firm or in-house responsible for dedicating blood, sweat, and tears for best practices on diversity, please stand. Natalia said it earlier. You are never acknowledged for what you do. I need you to stand and be recognized. Each and every one of you, stay standing. Keisha, I see you. Natalia. Each and every one of them are diversity champions in their own right. They're in the back seats. They don't take the limelight, but they get the work done. So I'm very thankful to partner, Morgan Stanley's thankful to partner with all of you on a regular basis. So, as a matter of fact, one more thanks. If you are at one of the 50 law firms that fill out the Morgan Stanley Diversity and Inclusion Survey every year, stand up. Stand up. Those of you that fill out the survey, get up. Get up. We hear the complaints. Stay standing. We get the complaints, right? And those surveys are out right now, and they're due by July 1. Okay? You know, every year we select the #1 firm. We give more business to the firm that gets recognized. The ones that fall at the bottom of the list, you have an unpleasant conversation with our chief legal officer. So thank you for filling out the survey and doing all that you do. Now, the reason I was asking so many people to stand, as I said before, we know the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. It's this community. It's all of you is the reason why we're being acknowledged, because you are our partners. We are together in this fight. And the only way we're going to get it done as a community and affect change is if we stick together. So thank you all for everything that you've done. I am so sorry to come back up here. I am so sorry to come back up here. I forgot one more thank you. One more thank you, and it's the most important one. Last year, for those of you that came last year, you remember I was the chair of the selection committee, and I had some reservations about what was going to happen at the city bar because they were losing Barbara Berger-Opatowski as executive director, and she was a pioneer. And Barbara, could you please stand? She has done so much in the diversity space. I was frightened about the future. I was frightened about the direction of the bar. That very day, I met Brett Parker, and I told him he had tall heels to fill and that we were going to hold him accountable. We were going to hold him accountable. 1 year later, Brett, you've done a phenomenal job. You've met every expectation. But to be fair, he hasn't done it by himself. Gabrielle Brown, who by the way is like me, a CUP fellow, the Council of Urban Professionals fellow, so you know what we breed. through that organization. She, as the director of diversity, has done something that I just didn't, we talked about it when she was stepping into the role, but what she has done has outmatched any expectations that I had. This gala, this dinner, this evening is phenomenal. I've seen behind the scenes what she has planned. There's more to come. Again, we can't do it without you, but her staff, where's Claire Plunkett? Where's Claire? Claire Plunkett, they work hard to get it done, and I couldn't step off without saying thank you to them. Thank you.